You're listening to A Tiny Homestead, the podcast comprised entirely of conversations with homesteaders, cottage food producers, and crafters. I'm your host, Mary Lewis. Today I'm talking with Jessica at the Homemade Mess in South Dakota. Good morning, Jessica. How are you?
Good morning. I'm so glad to be here.
I'm so glad you had time. It's really hard this time of year, starting in September. Harvest season has begun, and then the holidays hit, and I'm like, okay, who's going to be available to talk to me?
Yes, we can. 30 minutes isn't a hard time to carve out of the day.
Well, it is and it isn't. It just depends. It depends on what people have going on and what time they have available.
Absolutely.
And things come up and they can't make it. And I'm just like, ah.
And it's not 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I try really hard not to record past 6 o'clock at night because I am not on my game at past 6 o'clock at night. So
yes, that seems to be the only me time is after 10 o'clock when nothing else is there.
Well, that's because you're a mom and you're a homesteader and you're busy and you're a teacher.
Yes, I am.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do.
So I live in central South Dakota, and I grew up in North Dakota. I did grow up on a ranch, and so when I married my husband, I always had these big dreams. I was gonna marry a rodeo guy, right? And then I fell in love with a fisherman. So I love him to death, and he really isn't into the homesteading, the animals, he's a fishing and hunting guy, and that's what he does. And so we moved. My husband's a lineman, and so we moved to a really small town. There was no Walmart, so I said, we're not moving there. We compromised and we moved there. And so I really didn't have land. I do have some horses and I do barrel race as well. And so I didn't have land. And then up until probably a little over a year ago, we found like our dream place. And it was like, God willing, it happened and it worked out. And so we really are like living out our dream now. I do also teach. I teach in a very small town. I have 11 kids in my class. And then I'm a full-time teacher. I'm a mom. And then from after that, after whatever time I have left is when I do my social media business. I actually started it in late June of 2025. So like not very many months ago. And I kind of blew up, which is, I'm very grateful, but I don't really know what I'm doing on social media quite yet, the 500,000 followers might seem like I do, but I'm just living on a prayer and winging it over here. But we live day by day. I don't really know what I'm doing in life yet. So here we are.
You are in one of the most wonderful and most frustrating spots of life right now because winging it is really fun, but it can also be really scary.
Yes. Especially being like, nobody prepares you for motherhood. You could Google all you want, but then you become a mom and you have no idea what you're doing. So I'm like trying to figure that out. Well, trying to figure out my social media business and trying to be a good mom and be a good wife and take care of all the 100,000 animals I decided to accumulate. And it's busy.
Yeah, just be a good human and everything else will fall into place.
Yes.
Okay, I have a couple questions regarding your answer to my first question. How many kids do you have? Just have the one?
I just have the one. Yep, he's 18 months.
Oh my, that is a very busy time.
Yes, very busy.
And then did you teach at a bigger school before you moved?
I did, yes. I taught in a very large school district. I taught in a school district that had 12 just elementary schools. So it was about 20 to 30,000 people in elementary. So I taught in a very large district. And then I came down here and I had 9 kids last year. I didn't know what to do with my time.
So how many kids were in the class size before this new place?
About 30.
Oh, wow. So this is a huge change for you.
Yes. Yeah. I also before that I taught in a really big district, and then I taught over on like a meeting reservation school, and then I taught where I'm at now. So there was a little bit of steps taken before I got to where I'm at now, but very large class sizes.
Do you enjoy the smaller class size more because you can give the kids more attention one-on-one?
Yeah, I do. It comes with its challenges as well, though. The small school district also comes with a small school, so it
Mhm.
comes with a small community. The small community was hard for me to adjust to.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. Okay, so your place is called the Homemade Mess.
Yes.
So why did you call it that?
I feel like that really encompasses what I do, and I really encompass the reality of that life is messy. I also want to normalize the fact that like not everything is Instagram perfect, especially like the homestead we live on. My kitchen is really my main recording place, and my kitchen has become a large profile of who I am as our social media presence. But it really encompasses the fact that like life is chaotic, life is a mess, and it's okay. And it's normal. It just embrace that mess and really soak it in because that mess doesn't last forever. And one day you're going to miss that mess.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness, you just hit a button. I'm sorry. Um, I'm 56. I've raised 4 kids,
Oh gosh, I love that.
and they're all grown, and it's great. I swear to you, I love the stage of my life. I do.
Yeah.
But I miss my kids, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Swear to God, every time I think I'm going to get through a podcast without tearing up, I can't. So it's okay. The other upshot is that once your kids are adults and hopefully you've raised them the way that you hoped you would, and
100%.
they all move out and they're good human beings and they're doing their thing, your stress level comes down immensely.
I bet. I can't imagine. Today I had to get my kid out of the vent of the house because he was stuck and I thought he was going to fall to the basement.
Oh
I was like,
my.
oh my God. I was like, what? When does this end?
The sweet spot is when they're about 8 or 9 years old
Oh, good. I look forward to that. But
because
I
they're
don't want to rush life. I really don't. I really like where I'm at now. But nobody prepared you for that part of life.
oh no, there's no owner's manual as it were for
No,
kids.
no. But as far as social media, that is something that I feel like is really not normalized. Especially as a new mom, like when I was feeding in the middle of the night, what was I doing? Scrolling social media. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when I was doing that, I really felt degraded on myself. Because I didn't have number one, I don't have family around. So I didn't have a village, right?
Yep.
And it wasn't even about the village because really our village has changed over the years. I mean, I can get Amazon Prime in 2 days now, where we couldn't before. So like I do consider that part of my village. But I don't have family around here. So like when I was scrolling social media, I felt like there was really nobody out there that or that I had found they are out there. But that really normalized like the mess in not only like my kitchen, but in like life, but also in like homesteading. Like I really that's one thing that I really wanted to encompass, and I couldn't really find that, and I wanted something to give me answers, and that's kind of why I created it. All of my recipes and all my platform is completely free because I do think that that is really important for moms, and not everyone is in that financial space where they can afford healthier alternatives, and um, so that was something that I wanted when I was scrolling. When I was scrolling, I wanted someone to give me the answers right then. I wanted to read that it was going to be okay.
You made the thing that you needed.
Yes.
Good job. That's what we all should be doing. That's why I started the podcast because I needed a place to talk to people who were doing things like I was doing. So same premise.
Yes, I love that.
Um, yeah, and I'm just gonna reiterate, life is messy. I mean,
It is.
I came down with some upper respiratory thing back the first week of October, and I am finally over it. It took like 6 weeks to start feeling human again.
Oh gosh, I feel that. I
And
feel like
my
that's our house on rotate.
yeah, and my downstairs right now is not very nice. It's a mess. There's stuff everywhere.
Yeah, but that mess is temporary.
Yeah, exactly.
And
And
sometimes life takes the front seat.
well, being able to function, being able to get the
Yes.
dishes done and laundry
Yep.
handled when you're sick is enough for at least that first couple of weeks when you don't
Yes.
feel good. Um, but the other thing about life being messy is that you can spend 3 days getting your entire kitchen and living room cleaned up, organized, and spotless. And within 2 days, it's going to look half as nice as it did the day you were done.
2 days? I wish mine would last 2 days.
Well, you have a little one, so you get some slack on this.
Yes.
But you cannot make your house a museum. It
No.
has to be
No.
lived in.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
okay, tell me about your homesteading stuff. What do you do that classifies as homesteading?
So, my main platform is in my kitchen. So, number one, my platform is I do 100% think that everyone should have the knowledge of learning how to can and preserve food. I think that is a skill that is really dying, and I think that everyone should have access to that and for free.
Bravo.
Whether you need it now, but I think you should know how to do that.
Yes.
And so like a really big part of my platform in my homesteading community is learning how to can and preserve your own food. And that's not only from my garden, but it's also supporting local people. So I feel like a lot of people sometimes think that they can't homestead because they live in an apartment. And that is like so far from the truth. You can homestead in a studio if you want to.
Mm.
It's all about learning how to really just be self-sufficient, and that all starts in your kitchen. You don't need cows in your pasture, you don't need goats, you don't need chickens, like you don't need a chandelier in your chicken coop with wallpaper. Like that's so far fetched, and that's fine if you want that. I'm not at all hating on people that do that. Like I love that, and I really would want to be that, but that's just not reality.
Mhm.
And so like I feel like that is a really big homesteading space right now. And so I like really wanted to bring that back, and just let homesteading be part of everybody's life. And you can do it from anywhere. And so a really big part of my homesteading space is canning and preserving your own food and dry mixes. I have a really big space in dry mixes as well. Like transferring your homemade dry or store-bought dry mixes to homemade. Number one, it's cheaper. You can do that. So if you are not in a space to be able to afford store-bought mixes, then not only you can do it frugally, but you can do it with less ingredients and a healthier alternative. But outside my kitchen, I do have lots of animals. Some that I have accumulated over the years. I have like chickens and my husband's rule, I have to preface this. My husband's rule is that I cannot have any animal unless it serves a purpose.
Yep.
And so if it was up to me, I would have everything. But he really humbles me. But we have chickens, obviously for eggs. We tried meat birds one time, one and only time. I will support local ranchers before I do that again. But we have goats as well. We have geese, we have horses, we have cow. Well, we don't have a herd of cows, but we raise them for our own consumption. But that's really the extent of our animals that we have here. We have a few like random birds. We'll just chop those up as like I have them for my mental health. But that's really the extent of our homesteading here as far as animals. I do have a garden. It's about an acre garden. And that is an absolute jungle after the first month. But it still produces. So but that's the extent of my homesteading. Most of my homesteading space is canning and preserving inside my kitchen.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. And I agree 100%. I think that every freaking person on the planet who has the means and the ways to learn to cook should. And I say it on the podcast all the time. If you want to save yourself money, learn to cook.
100%. 100%. And it's not like I get comments all the time on my platform asking like I would really like to start, but it costs a lot of money. And sometimes I think that a lot of different platforms like it really doesn't cost a lot of money to start. You have to use what you already have. And that's a really big thing that I say on my platform all the time. We are absolutely not an aesthetically pleasing homestead. We use what we have. So, and that's one thing that like, it doesn't have to be, it's only as expensive as you make it. You know, I think that people really should use Facebook Marketplace a lot, or thrift stores or Goodwill. Like they have a lot of really good things there, and it doesn't have to cost a lot.
I found my first set of matched dishes, plates and coffee mugs and salad bowls at Goodwill. And they are Pfaltzgraff. They are like you know how mallard ducks have that greeny blue color on them?
Yes.
They're that color. I love them. I broke at least a quarter of them in the 5 years that we use them consistently because dishes break.
Yeah.
And now when I'm feeling nostalgic for when I finally decided I needed matching dishes, I will pull out some of those plates and use them. But I don't use them as often as I did because I lost a quarter of the setting that I had. And
Yeah.
and I finally bought restaurant style white plates, bowls, and mugs because I was sick of dishes breaking. And if you want dishes that don't break, get restaurant style dishes because they're meant to take a beating.
I've actually never thought of that.
Yep, I gave
That's
up.
genius.
I gave up because I really love Pfaltzgraff. I think that they make some beautiful dishware, but they're stoneware. And if you hit them just right, they break. They break
Yeah.
right in half. And we've had this restaurant style set for over a year, and I think we've broken one plate and one mug out of a setting of 12.
I love that. That's a genius idea.
Yeah, because I was just like, I'm so tired of buying pretty dishes and they
Yes.
break, and then I'm out, a
Hmm.
dish that I need. So there are lots of ways to do it. And I'm actually glad that you're very kitchen focused and cooking focused because just before I got sick, I had 6,000 words written for basically a book on how to kit out your kitchen and what needs to be in your fridge and your pantry and things like that. And I am just now getting my brain back to where I can sit down and edit it. And I'm hoping to have it up on Amazon, as a Kindle ebook
Yeah.
by the first of the year. Wish me luck. And
Oh, well, I wish you the best of luck because that is something that is definitely, um, I think, needed in that stage of life.
yeah, and it's so funny. I keep talking about this on the podcast and with friends that it used to be that your great grandma, your grandma, and your mom would teach you these things. And moms are not teaching their kids this anymore. I did. I taught my kids how to cook and how to kit out a kitchen because it's important to me. But it's
Ab-
not as common as it was.
I did not have that. I'm completely self-taught.
Okay.
I taught myself how to can and preserve food right out of high school because I started reading ingredient labels and doing a lot of research. And I was also going to school to be a health and fitness coach at the time. Um,
Oh,
and so I started reading ingredient labels, and at first I didn't until I started going to school and doing my research. I actually really didn't even know what a lot of these ingredients were. I thought I grew up on these foods. I grew up on Pop Tarts for breakfast, and
hmm,
no hate to my mom. Like she's probably going to listen to this podcast, so I like no hate to my mom. That's just what we did.
yeah.
Um, and so we had a lot of ramen noodles and we had a lot of canned soup, and that's just what we had and that's what we ate. And so I didn't really know different. And so once I shouldn't say I didn't know different. I didn't know ingredients. I didn't care. And so once I started going to school and started be doing a little bit of research, I started reading ingredient labels, and I knew that if I wanted to be the best Jessica I could be, the first thing to change was my diet. And so that's kind of what started there. And then I cannot let food go to waste. That's like I can't do it. My brain will not let me do that. So I started canning, and then I had many fails before I was successful at all. But I didn't have that either, and that's something big on my platform too. Is people come to me because they didn't have a mom or a grandma to teach them how to do these things. And so I really work on not overcomplicating it because I was in that stage of life too where I needed somebody to like literally grab my hand and teach me what to do because I didn't know. And I mean, 10 years ago, YouTube was a thing, of course, but it wasn't as big of a platform as it is now. And so I needed somebody to teach me and to walk me through it and do it with me. And so that's kind of what I created my platform on too. Was that I want people to realize that it's really easy. It's not as overcomplicated as it seems. I am self-taught, and trust me when I tell you, if I can do it, you can do it. And the best
Yeah.
part is you don't have to put pants or a bra on or leave the house. You can just do it in your house.
Yes, exactly. Jessica, do you mind if I ask how old you are?
I am 28.
I love that. There are so few people under 30 who are interested in doing what you're doing. I'm going to do this again. I've said I'm proud of people all last week and the week before. I'm proud of you. You're doing a great thing.
Thank you. I do think though that it is coming back. Especially with like I am not going to get into politics, but especially with the like things that have been brought into light about what ingredients really are.
Yeah.
And that how unnormal it is. And so I do think that canning and preserving, not even canning and preserving, but just making food from scratch, like my dry mixes, for example. I do sell, all of my recipes are free on my page, but I sell label kits for dry mixes that has over 35 dry mixes that you can exchange store-bought to homemade. And I think that is like a first step into really becoming self-sufficient on yourself, or really getting to food freedom. I think that's really important. And I don't think there's ever going to be a time where we can't depend on stores. Like we just live in the age where we will have to depend on stores. I'm confident of that.
Uh-huh.
But the less that you can get there and the more you can make at home, you know what's in it. You don't have any of those, emulsifiers in your food. Then that's a win in my book.
Okay, I have two things I want to share regarding what you just said. I learned how to make homemade mayonnaise a good 8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do it very often. I should do it more often, but I'm the only one in the house who likes mayonnaise, so I'm not going to make it every week because I don't use it every week. And there is something incredibly magical about watching something like that come together because it seems impossible.
Yes.
And the first time I did it and I saw it go from olive oil and egg and whatever was in it to mayonnaise, I stood there with my mouth hanging open because it was literally nothing. And then it was the thing I needed it to be.
Exactly. That is, even small alternatives like that. I have a lot of them on my page, but the DMs or the comments on all of my platforms that are like, I had no idea you could make this, like powdered sugar or brown sugar.
Yeah.
Like people don't, and that's no fault of their own. Like they just don't know. It's just lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
So once they know, well, then you take that information and do with it what you will. But it's just knowledge and knowing that you can do it on your own. You can. And it's stuff you already probably have at home. And it's significantly cheaper. My platform is about doing it on a budget. It is significantly cheaper. Maybe
Yeah.
not you could probably get some really cheap mayo because olive oil is really expensive. But brown sugar and powdered sugar or canning your leftovers. You could do that for pennies on the dollar, really.
Yes, absolutely. And the other thing that I made, speaking of the dry mixes you're talking about, I made homemade ranch dressing because I actually love ranch dressing. I am very vanilla in my taste, Jessica. I don't like spicy.
Me either.
I don't like bitter other than coffee. Freaking love coffee, but I can add sugar to that. And I didn't want to keep buying ranch dressing at the grocery store because it has all kinds of preservatives in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked at this for a whole summer trying to get a ranch dressing that I liked with actual real ingredients from scratch. And I finally finally typed into Google, cannot talk this morning, real ranch tasting recipe. And somebody had come up with one that used buttermilk, either dry buttermilk or just buttermilk.
That's what I use in mine too, buttermilk powder.
Yeah, and I tried it and it tasted exactly like the ranch dressing that I buy at the store, and I was so excited.
Yep.
And the dry buttermilk is so weird because if you put it in your coffee, it's basically like a creamer.
Oh, we don't
thing.
drink coffee, but that's a good thing to know.
So not only did I have the stuff to make a good ranch dressing, but if I was out of milk, I had something to lighten up my coffee, which
Yes,
was
of
nice.
course.
So that helped. But when it comes to talking about preserving food, you certainly can things, and you can freeze things, and you can dry things, and you can freeze dry things.
Yep.
Am I missing any?
You could freeze dry, you could dehydrate.
Dehydrate, yes.
You can can. That's like the main ones I do. You can That's the main ones I do, yeah, on my page.
Yeah.
Because
And
I actually don't have a lot of freeze dry. Well, I don't have a freeze dryer currently right with me, but or at my house. But I also realize that that's not something that a lot of people have.
mhm.
I that's expensive, and so most of my content is about using, like I said, using what you have. So like most people have a freezer, a dehydrator, and then my canning.
Yeah, and I want to throw in here a dehydrator is not that expensive to acquire.
You can get them at thrift stores for very cheap.
Yes. Or you
Yep.
can buy a new one for less than $50.
Yes, yes. I will say that they're like with a dehydrator, if you're purchasing new, you get what you pay for.
Mhm.
And so especially if you're going to be using it in bulk, using it often, you get what you pay for when it comes for that. And that's really with anything, but I got mine at a thrift store. All of mine have been from thrift stores.
Uh-huh.
So and they work just fine too. But yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing is if you don't have a dehydrator, if you have cookie sheets,
Yep.
you can dry things in the oven at the
Mhm.
lowest setting that
Yes.
your oven will do, and it doesn't have to be a gas stove, it can be an electric stove.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. You could. Same with canning. Like you can can and preserve food, and that's kind of there's multiple ways to do that. A lot of you can can in you can do oven canning or what they call dry canning. You can do pressure canning. You can do steam canning. You can do water bath canning. It's really just what method is easiest for you and what you are really knowledgeable about. A lot of people throw out the word botulism, like they truly understand what it means.
Uh-huh.
And so just being aware of, number one, using what you have. You don't have to go out and purchase a pressure canner if you're not comfortable with that. But just using what you have and just understanding that even with canning, there's multiple ways to can. So we talk about dehydrating and freeze drying and freezing, and canning, and so even within canning, there's a lot of ways to get the end result.
Oh, absolutely. The one thing I will say about food preservation is before you get into it, do your research.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially and I mean, I do like to think that I'm a really good resource for a lot of people, but a lot of people go to social media, including myself. A lot of people go to social media looking for support or answers to their questions. Like I said, I did it too, and I still do it. And so like they TikTok is the new Google, right? TikTok is a new
Mhm.
search engine. So I do it too, but a lot of people, a lot of creators are, and vacuum sealing. I forgot that one, but
Yes.
vacuum sealing as well. Um, but a lot of creators are really good at fear mongering. And so a lot of people don't want to can because, like I said, they're afraid of botulism. And a lot of creators are word vomiting that word without truly educating people on what that is. And so that is, I feel like, a wall that I run into on my platform, is like retraining you that botulism is not something to be afraid of. Rather, it's something to understand. It's
Yes.
something to be knowledgeable about. Of course, it's a real thing. I'm not going to disregard that. We know it is, but you have to be knowledgeable about it. Like I personally am a rebel canner. I 100% believe in that.
Uh,
But it's all about education instead of throwing out that word. People are scared of that, and so that really turns a lot of people off of that.
yeah, and that's part of the reason I'm saying do the research. Find someone
Yes.
who's been canning for 20 years and knows what
Mhm.
they're doing and have them, quote unquote, hold your hand through learning it.
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
and don't just believe the first thing that you read, you
And that's
know?
with anything really, and not just canning. Like just do your research,
Yeah.
um, and make. And I'm just about informed. I want you to be informed before you make any decision, no matter what that is.
Yep.
And I want
Yep.
you to have real facts.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing is that this stuff takes time to do. And
Yes.
I'm not saying it's going to take you a week to can some tomato sauce, but it's going to take you a good day
Yep.
and maybe 2 days,
Mhm.
depending on
And you
how,
might fail.
yeah, and depending on how practiced you are. I mean, when we
Yeah.
did tomatoes 4 years ago, it took us 2 days to get through it
Mhm.
because we were hot and tired and we're like,
Yep.
let's do the rest tomorrow.
Yeah.
When we did them last year, it only took half a day.
Yeah.
So it's all about learning, it's all about
Yeah.
practicing, and it's all about getting comfortable with the things that you are doing.
Yes. And being okay to fail.
Yeah.
Failing is really part of your learning process. And I know it stinks. I know it does.
Mhm.
But you learn from your mistakes, especially with canning. When you do spend 2 days getting, making your tomato sauce, and you figure out that, 3 or 4 jars didn't seal, like, what do you do with that now? And so just knowing that there's a possibility that you're going to fail, and what are you going to do from that failure? And that's just not just in canning, but life, but
Yep, definitely. I love that because we made our tomato sauce that we made 2 summers ago now. I don't love it. My husband and my son will eat it. I don't love it because they made it with a different variety of tomato,
Mhm.
and it's not as sweet. And it also had to do with the growing conditions that year. And so I'm very excited. We're going to be canning tomato sauce over the New Year weekend, I think, this year.
That's what we do too. We make it we all put all of our tomatoes in a freezer, and we
Yep.
make it a winter problem.
Yep, that's what we did too. And I have eaten a few of the tomatoes that I know we're going to be making sauce out of, and they were so good this year. Oh my
I love
God.
that.
So very excited for New Year's weekend to be working because we always work on holidays. We're always doing something that there just hasn't been time for.
I love that. That's something that I wish that I shouldn't say I wish. Something that I would like to have is to have like a local community that does that together. And I live very rural.
Yeah.
I live 3 hours from like a Sam's Club or a Walmart.
Hmm.
There's a Walmart about an hour and a half away from me, but so I live very rural, and there's not a lot of people around that do that. So that is one thing that I wish that I had was just a community here to do that.
Well, it'll just be my husband and I. We are the community on this project, but at least
Oh,
we have
fair enough.
at least we have each other to keep
100%.
ourselves entertained while we're cutting up tomatoes and smushing tomatoes and
Yes.
juicing tomatoes. So,
Yes.
all right, Jessica, I would love to have you back because I feel like there's a whole lot more that we could talk about.
I would love that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Where can people find you?
You can find me on all platforms. I am under the Homemade Mess on all platforms. I am on Lemonade, TikTok, Facebook. I'm on Threads, Instagram, but I'm under the Homemade Mess on all platforms.
Good job, because I just talked to a lady the other day who has to consolidate all of her stuff in the new year, and she was kind of poking fun at herself, and I don't think she realized that she was going to get as big as she did as fast as she did. So I'm really glad you don't have to do that too.
I didn't. I started in late June, and I've built a community of 500,000 followers. Have no idea what I'm doing on social media yet. So there, with that came a lot of struggles.
Mhm.
So I think I have my ducks in a row. I think there might be a few off track, but I have prepared myself for I have learned from the struggles that I already had. So hopefully, after the new year, I know with like after taxes and all that fun stuff, there'll be some changes that I have to make. But hopefully, my ducks are at least going the right direction.
Well, please keep doing what you're doing because you are doing a fabulous thing.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate you reaching out. And I'm excited to get the Homemade Mess out there and really share our story.
Awesome. As always, people can find me at atinyhomesteadpodcast.com. And if you'd like to support the podcast, you can go to atinyhomestead.com/support. Jessica, I know it's Sunday. I wish I'd talked to you on Friday so I could say have a good weekend, but have a good week.
You as well. Thank you so much for having me.
Yep. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.